Cool. Chase, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Where are you at right now?
I'm in South Pasadena, Los Angeles, California.
South Pasadena.
Yes,
Beautiful
sir.
city.
Yeah.
Uh, do you ever get up into the mountains in Altadena? Do some hiking up there?
I don't hike. um,
Yeah,
my exercise comes from the gym and the gym alone.
yeah, we see that, man. We see that all the time online.
Hiking's fun. I used to go camping all the time when I was younger, so like I do love the outdoors, but nah, I don't have too much time to go on hikes these days.
Got it. Cool. Well, Chase Paves, man. Tell us a bit about you and music. How long have you been playing music?
Let's see. I've been because I was a drummer, so I grew up playing drums in the church, so I've been a musician, I guess, for my whole life, man. I was like 2 years old when I started playing drums, and then was in a few bands, and then I went to Berkeley College of Music. Now I'm at USC, so I'd say music for 20 plus years.
And where'd you grow up again? Was it in LA?
Yeah, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, so
Cool.
like Hollywood area, Valley Village.
So, what took you to Berkeley, all the way on the other side of the country, versus any school initially, like locally for you?
Um, I mean, I wanted to do music. Also, I don't know, like I wanted to get it. I wanted to go to USC right out of high school.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know. Maybe I didn't have the grades or whatever it was, so I didn't get in there. And Berkeley was like my number two because my sister went there, which was dope. And so she kind of like paved the way and was like, doing really cool stuff. She got to go to Europe and she lived there, I think, for like 2 years. And I was like, damn, I want to do that. So like that was a perfect number two. And I
Yeah.
kind of got in like right off the cuff. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna settle here. I got into a few other schools too, but I got into like in NYU, but I didn't want to go to
Yeah.
NYU.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah,
Were you writing music in high school?
not at all. No, I didn't start writing. I wrote one rap verse in high school,
Okay.
and I actually ended up performing that rap verse at the BET Awards in 2016 on like the Coca Cola
What?
stage. Yeah, it
Did
was
you
pretty
really?
wild. I was there. I was part of this like BET youth program, and so we were like, they like would like show us all the cool stuff like the Grammy Museum and all that stuff, and then we got to see like the BET Awards on the last day. And on the last day, they were like, "Yo, we're gonna have this competition. Like, if you guys, whoever has like the best, whatever, whoever has like the best, there's like a little competition of like showing their talent, right? Showcasing their
Yeah.
talent. And they're like, whoever gets like the most votes will perform on the Coke stage before Mindless Behavior goes on.
Whoa.
And I had written like a rap verse maybe like a week before. It was the first verse I ever wrote. I still remember it too. Actually, it's been crazy. Um, and I was there with one of my buddies. Who now he's one of my buddies. But at the time, I like didn't know anyone. It was like this like kind of interesting thing. We're all just kind of like getting together and like meeting people. I knew these two kids produced, and I was like, "Yo, can y'all like lay me like do like a little beat on the table or whatever?"
Yeah.
And I'll like rap. All right, cool. So like I get up in front of everybody and I do like this little verse that I wrote, and they were just like, I was there for drums, bro. I was not there for rap.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Yo, that's crazy." So I got like voted like the best. I don't even think anyone went after me. I think I was like the only one who did it. They were just like him. And
That's so
then
cool.
yeah, I got to like perform on the Coke stage before Mindless Behavior, and like I think it was the next day I was performing. So that night I went home and like wrote. I like my brother was like rapping at the time, and I was like, "Yo, Cam, do you have any like beats you can get like lend me?" And he's like, "Sure." So he gave me one, and like I fit that verse to the song, and then wrote a little bit more. And the next day performed it. So just like that was like the first time I'd ever done anything like that. I was like, "Yeah, this is cool."
Did you
And
record that track at all?
huh?
Have you recorded that track at all?
Never recorded it. Only did it for the
Oh,
performance. I wrote it the night before and was just like, all right.
did it?
And then I went to college and I made my first song in college. It's called actually came out. It's called Metal Bliss. That was like the first. No, is that the first one? Yeah, that was the first rap song I've ever made. It was the first song I've ever made.
Did you collaborate with anyone on the beat or the music, or did you do it all yourself?
Yeah, so that beat is my buddy Luca produced that one. So he produced Metal Bliss, Bedtime, and Number Nine.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that Metal Bliss was my first song I've ever made.
But aren't you making beats now yourself?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Cool. So, what goes through your creative vision when you think about making
That
your
was
own
a
beats
long,
versus
that was a
working
long
with somebody
story.
else's? What's up?
I said that was a long story.
Oh no, that was awesome. I mean, that's the type of stuff that's super cool. Like I didn't know that. Like you and I have talked a bunch of times, and I didn't know that story. So I know that you make a lot of your own beats now. Like, do
Yeah.
you exclusively make your own beats now, or you just
Yeah,
kind
no, not exclusively. No, no, no. I mean, I have a setup in my like closet right here where I'm at right now.
yeah,
Actually,
look at that,
um,
dude.
have my speakers right here and my keyboards down here. I'll see if you can see the keyboard. So yeah, I mean, I don't exclusively work with just myself or exclusively work with like one producer. I just kind of like I just a lot, but you know what's kind of funny though is like a lot of the people I do work with, they went to school with me, so like they're all
Yeah.
friends of mine anyways. So it's
In
just like we're
Berkeley
just
or in
collaborating.
LA?
Shoot shit, huh?
In Berkeley or in LA?
They went to Berkeley with me. Yeah.
Oh,
Most of them like are remote, and then one of my main buddies who lives in LA. His name's Andrew DeFerrari. He's like kind of like the guy. He's a crazy producer, and he goes to USC with me. But
oh,
I mean, I like working with other people. Um, but it's like it's hard for me sometimes because and I've never had a session like be I've never had a session like go bad because I like pick and choose who I work with. I'm like, all right, I know this is gonna be cool. Because I have such a like a vision for what exactly it is that I want to do because I also know music theory. So
sure,
like essentially anything I think of, I can actually put it into a tangible form. So
sure.
when it comes to me working with people, it's never like, oh, like, well, what do you want to do? Or what is it? It's like I already know what I want to do. And so that kind of that kind of like reluctancy I have to work with people is more so about like whether they're willing to like assist me in what I'm doing. And it's not I know this kind of sounds kind of like bad, but
Cut
like
it out, man.
assist me in what I'm doing as opposed to like trying to like get me to do what they want to do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
yeah,
usually I'm working with a producer and not another artist. So I'm less like lenient when it comes to like the product. It's like, all right, cool. Like I want to do like a rap beat. I want like the kick here and there. Da, 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 da. Essentially, it's like I work with other producers for like their sounds. Cause
yeah.
like you make great sounds, like you're dope with like your sound design, and I
Mhm.
want to like introduce that to like my wave of rapping or singing or whatever it is. But like I never like walk over people's ideas. Like I'm always like inclusive. It's
Yeah,
just like there will be producers that'll hit me up and they're like, yo, like you want to work on something, and they'll send me like their beat style, and it's so far fetched from what I do that I know it wouldn't work working with them
yeah,
because I'd be asking them to do something that may not be comfortable for them or it's just like out of their prowess. So I don't really like work with certain people like that. So that's kind of like the main thing. So I love working with people, but I'm just really selective because I just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's
Of
art at the
course.
end of the day. So like I'm not trying to like judge anyone else's art. I just got to find the people who I know. I'm like, all right, I know I like their art. So
Yeah,
whatever we do together, I know I'm gonna like it. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. That
Um,
makes total sense. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You just want to be efficient, you know.
absolutely efficient. Um, Also, I want to make sure that like I can like I'm not like budging on like my artistic vision as well.
Yeah, you want to execute
I'm
against your vision.
Yeah, like I'm all for the repartee and like the going back and forth, but it's like there will be some producers where it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like this is my style, and it's like I didn't hit you up for your style. You hit me up for my style. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And like that's where it's like I- I'll do my style on your beat, but like I won't do what you want me to do on your beat. You get me?
yeah,
It's like that's not what you hit me up for.
yeah,
You hit me up because I do this. So like there's but it's like I don't want to like argue. I don't want to argue with someone. I don't want to do
yeah,
that. I don't want to be like, no. I'm just like, hey man, like I don't know if it's gonna work. Like our styles are pretty different, but like let me know if you have something that sounds a little bit more like this. Like I'm super nice about it. Like
yeah.
all my DMs, like you'll never hear of anybody in the future being like, yo, I DM Chase one time and he was so rude to me. Like, you'll never hear of that. I'm always
Guy
like, hey,
totally ghosted me.
style doesn't really work out that much. Like, sorry, it didn't work out. It
Yeah,
is what it is.
yeah, totally.
But yeah, I really love, especially love working with people who are like just crazy talented. Like,
Oh, of
I
course.
love working with people who are better than me. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, me
Like,
too. I love that.
and this is kind of like my mo, and like I feel like this is gonna like take me far in life. But I don't like like if I'm gonna hire someone to do something, they have to be better than me at it.
Of
They have to.
course. Yeah, man.
Like if I'm equally as good as you, like it's like why am I using you?
That's
You
why
know
I
what I
feel.
mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, and I think that that should be, and to a certain extent, the mentality of anyone who like wants something. Like if you're working hard
Mhm.
towards something, make sure you're the best at it, or at least if like someone's hiring you, you got to be better than them at it. Like I hired a dude to do graphic design, and I didn't like it, and I was like, cool, I'll do it. So then I learned how to do graphic design. So now I'm like, cool, any graphics I need, I can do it.
You can
I
do
like
it.
hired someone to mix a song a long time ago. I
You're
didn't like it.
polymath.
Cool. Now
Polymath.
I know how to like mix my songs. So it's like I'm self-sufficient enough to where I can mix, I can do all my visuals, I can record myself, I can produce, where virtually I don't need anything from anyone else. I'll only outsource if it's like, I want to take it to the next level. So I gotta find someone better than me. You know what I mean?
Don't you when you mix, you do something with the tones that make the song sit in a certain frequency? Someone was telling me this.
Yeah, so essentially,
Yeah.
how it was explained to me is like giving each sound its own like frequential real estate. So
Okay.
like if your kick is like, from like 0 hertz to like, I don't know, like 200, 300 hertz,
Yeah.
that's actually pretty cool now. So probably like 0 to like maybe like 1,000, right? So your
Sure.
kick like is like fits in there, but then you also have a sub. So you're gonna mix out a lot of this low end of your kick so that your sub can sit here and there's no frequencies like combating with it.
Mm.
So that's kind of like the best way to put it is like giving each sound its own frequential
Every
real
sound
estate.
sits in its own frequency
So
range. Yeah.
yeah, so there's not too many frequencies overlapping, so everything sounds clear.
Yeah.
And then there's like panning and reverb and like all types of stuff that, but it's like essentially with like frequency. I think it's called frequency matching or something. Like that's you can get away with a lot with just that,
Yeah.
and
What
then
do you
compression and all that stuff.
what do you say to like up and coming artists who feel like, oh, um, I can't access the studio. I don't know how to record. I don't have the
Oh, I love that. I love getting that question, man, because
like, what do you say to those people? Yeah.
I don't even like going to studios to be
Yeah.
honest, because I record myself and like I do everything myself. I'm like fast
Yeah.
and, and I'm like so like when I go to studios, I like will mess up and like I'm like in my room. It's like I mess up a few buttons, I'm already back recording. Like I'm kind of like impatient like that, you know. So um, I don't like going to studios because it's like I'm working on someone else's time. And I
Yeah.
know I'm really efficient, and I know that not everybody works as fast as I do.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm not going to sit there and be a dick in the studio. I mean, I wouldn't be a dick anyways,
Yeah.
but it's just like, hey man, you think you can like speed it up? Like, I know people don't like that shit, so I'm just like, all right, cool. Like, let me just record at the crib, and then I'll send it to my buddy to mix. Or if I do record in the studio, it's like I'll be like, hey man, I like recording pretty quickly. So like if I mess up, I'll just tell you like, yo, let's run it back, and like we'll just get it going quick. I'm really communicative about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But for artists who are like, oh, I can't pay to get in the studio, there's two ways of going about it. Honing in on your craft enough to where you're dope enough to where people will let you into studio sessions for free,
Yeah.
or the easier way, just figuring out and learning how to do the shit by yourself.
This
Like
is real
YouTube
alpha right
University
here.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, YouTube University is real. Like you can literally
Yeah.
look it up on
Totally.
YouTube. You
Yeah.
can get torrents of like softwares of sounds, whatever you want. You can do it all by yourself. It's just like it depends on what you want to put into it. How much you put in is what you get out of it. So people who are like don't know how to record themselves, they don't know how to produce to some certain extent. They don't know what like a vocal chain is or like what a reverb is. Like if you're gonna be in music, learn and do enough with it so that you can create your own sound to a certain extent. Because if you can't understand any of these concepts, it's going to be hard for you to set yourself apart from other people because you're not able to touch enough of your own process to make it uniquely you. It's a
Mhm.
lot of other people involved in it. And
Yeah.
so also what that does is now one of these people don't want to be part of the process anymore or whatever happens. Now something's going to shift. But with me, whoever I work with, I still sound like Chase Paves. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's true.
So
So
I
you're
definitely would say, you know, take the time to learn how to do some of this stuff. It's not even expensive. A lot of it's free.
yeah.
You don't need to get a keyboard. You can use your keyboard on your computer. Some of my
That's
buddies who
true.
are crazy producers produce from just their keyboard, like on airplanes. They'll be like, "Yo, bro, let me send you this beat." The fuck? You made this on an airplane? Like it's crazy. It
Yeah.
really just comes down to your work ethic and how much you love it, how much you want to devote to it. It's all
Mhm.
about that. So if
Yeah.
you're like, if you, I'd say this: if you're someone who's already trying to cut corners and you're starting, it may not be for you.
Yeah. So you're independent. You don't have a label. You don't have a manager. You have
Yeah.
friends that help you with certain things, but like,
Yeah.
how do you do it? How do you do everything yourselves? Like, what do you say to artists
Um,
who are like waiting for someone to reach out to them to help them execute their vision? You know?
the easy answer is I don't do everything by myself.
Okay.
I miss a lot of things. Like
Okay.
if I'm not out at a party networking, no one's networking for me.
Mm,
But this is something that's soon to change. I'm like in talks with managers because I
cool.
this is just like it's overwhelming. I can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just like I'm like starting to get into acting. I'm like submitting reels and stuff, and like
Yeah.
I'm doing a
That's cool.
fashion film for like this NBA brand. It's just the whole thing. So I'm like
Sick.
doing a lot now. And I'm like I need someone to help me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. You need
you
a
can't
partner.
do this by yourself. And that's another thing, bro. Like that's a thing I would tell people who want to be independent. Independent doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it by yourself. Independent is independence from like a label.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it means. It
Sure.
doesn't mean you're doing it by yourself. You still need a team. Like what a label does is they supply you with, not necessarily your manager. You usually already have a manager, but they supply you with, whether it's like studio sessions or it's like an A&R or a marketing team. Like they supply you with everything that you'll need so that you don't have to worry about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But being independent, you still need all of these things, but you just have to go find it yourself. So like independent doesn't mean like, oh, well, I'm gonna do it everything by myself. Like that's not what it means. And if you go into it thinking that you're ready, you're gonna get a rude awakening, and it's gonna be like, oh shit, wait, really? I actually can't do any of this by myself. Like you can, I would consider myself like an artist who's like pretty far along, and I've done it like mostly by myself.
Yeah.
Myself meaning without a label. I did have a team, had help, but it's like then it comes down to getting on playlists and stuff. And like we don't know anybody to get on playlists or like even getting booked for shows. Like I'll either have to wait for people to reach out to me or like reach out to them from like a fake email account that says Chase Paves manager, like shit like that. Like you have to get creative and like figure out how to do things.
Yep.
And it's fun. It's really fun and it's a great time and you learn cool things and you meet people cool ways and it's definitely dope to be independent, but just know exactly what that means. It doesn't mean by yourself. And it doesn't mean that things are going to be easier. It also doesn't mean that maintaining your masters means you're going to make more money.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're independent but you don't have a fan base, you're not making more money than if you were to sign.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole it's not even misinformation. It's just like there's a whole side of like being independent and signing to a label that's just like people don't even pay attention to. It's
Yeah.
like in
I think.
every oh, what's
Yeah. I was just saying in my conversation with artists. I mean, most artists are still like they would love to have a label partner for the right deal, right? And it's just a matter of I think yeah, like no one I think is discounting like everything a record label can do for an artist because they really can't take them that way. You just have to understand what you're getting into and understand that the economics you're going to get paid back on all the other revenue streams, beyond the masters initially, right? Because you're going to see much more in essentially live performance, merchandising, publishing, all these other revenue streams that come from when you have breakout success on a record company versus having 1/10 of that success on your own. You might have 100% of the pie from the masters but be giving up upside on other revenue streams.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm like, I'm like independent now, but I'm like, I mean, I've always said this, and I've maintained my independence because I've just been waiting for the right like deal.
Yeah.
Um, I like administrative deals are really cool. But it's like also I'm a realist, so it's like okay, an administrative deal. Let me look at like the people who've gotten shit like that, like Brockhampton.
Yeah.
And those are deals where it's like you already have a fan base. To a certain extent, it's like you're competition on the market, and the label is technically losing money without signing you. So that's why they're going to sign you.
Sure.
That's what it means to really get like a administrative deal.
Yeah,
Um,
you see these distribution deals, Empire
well,
offers
distro
them.
deals are cool. Like
Yeah.
I would want just like a distro deal or like a marketing deal, which is
Yeah.
kind of like a distro deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
those opportunities are more and more out there.
yeah,
Definitely if you can do as much as you can on your own,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is like I get everything recorded. I don't need to pay anybody. I produce. I do everything. It's just like marketing dollars, like bringing it to market, getting it seen. That's like the only budget I need.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like I've taken this whole these like last like 2 years to really hone in on my craft and make myself self-sufficient enough to when I do come to a company, it's like their risk factor in signing someone like me is so much lower because they only need to do just a small portion,
Yeah.
and they'll still reap the same benefits as if they were to be paying the $600,000 for me. It's just
Sure.
like now they only have to pay 25, but like
Yeah.
the song still goes viral. The song still does
Yeah.
really well. You
Yeah.
know.
So you've entered Web3. You've launched your first Genesis NFT collection.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you decided to release a song or a music NFT, as they call it. Uh,
Yeah.
Curious to get your thoughts on like what do you think of Web3 and this new NFT world? Like what are you excited about it, and what do you hope will come around from it that maybe doesn't exist just yet? Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know exactly. That's hard to say. What would come around that doesn't exist yet? I feel like that could be a slew of things,
Yeah, I
good,
guess so.
good or bad, right? But um, I mean, releasing my first NFT was really interesting. The main thing I thought was interesting is that I didn't know exactly who the demographic was that you're selling to. I thought it
Mhm.
was like, I'm promoting it on my Instagram, like, hey guys, just released my NFT, go buy it. But that's not how it works. It's like
Yeah,
you're selling to people who are already on like OpenSea or already have like cryptocurrencies.
yeah,
Because essentially, what I was missing in my head was if I'm doing this on Instagram, what I'd have to be doing it's a call to action that goes beyond just like clicking a button and buying something. They have to set up accounts. They'd have to do all these things to get
yeah.
to
That's have a private
NFT.
wallet. Yeah,
All right. And so the marketing of that, I think in the future, I know a little bit if I was to approach it with like the same Instagram way, I would know how to approach it better
yeah,
and in like supplying intrinsic value to my NFT. But not only that, just like the education of what it means to be on OpenSea or to, have cryptocurrency. Like that was what was missing from, me trying to promote the NFT there. So like I'm learning a lot about promotion and just like
ah, yeah.
a marketing from using the NFT thing because I'm like, oh, that's a whole step that I missed. Oh, like I wonder if I'm missing steps like that when I promote my music or whatever this is.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting.
So
Yeah, yeah.
right, so I'm like going back in and I'm like looking. I'm like, okay, cool. So what's the call to action? Is it too much to ask for, or is it whatever, whatever, right? Or is it,
Education, the
or
touch
is there enough
points
education
involved.
there with the call to action? All that. So that was a really unique thing that being in the NFT space and like kind of like open me up to or open my eyes to, right? So but then also like with like the metaverse and stuff, I'm still pretty new to exactly what that means. I feel like
It's a
in
little bit
my
marketing, right? Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's like in my head it's like advertising someone like being like a sim character or
I
like
think
having
so, but
his
I think it's to me when I think of the metaverse, I think of decentralization, meaning like no one controls the metaverse that'll win. I think that's what I think at least. Um, you own what you own in the metaverse, right?
right, and so that's like the backwards part of like the metaverse thing or like Web3 is like you using the terminology of like it's decentralized and stuff, like people who are already in the NFT space who are already knowledgeable on that stuff. Those are things that they care about. But the
Yeah,
average person doesn't
they
even know
don't
what.
care. Yeah, they don't understand the value
Not
add.
even that they don't care; they don't even know what it means.
They don't know what it
So even
means.
if you
Yeah,
tell them, they're like, "What does that mean?" So
yeah.
like figuring out how to market to them is like, "Hey, look, you can be your own Sims character." Like, you know what I mean?
Hey, look,
Like that's like
you
kind
can
of like
own your own assets in your own private wallet versus a
yeah,
custodial
it's like
wallet. Right?
you can have your own world type thing, and
Yeah,
like you
you
can
can
have
literally you can have your own world today. You can log in and create a world. Yeah,
literally your own world, like like, and then you can get your own NFT. Like, so there's like the marketing like strategy for that. I feel like would be, in my opinion, like a Sims or like Minecraft,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah,
but then again, it's like okay, that's getting people on it, but the people who are already on it is like who you do have to cater to.
yeah.
Like to get I guess either to get the intrinsic value up from where it is right now or to like immediately make a profit or turn a profit.
Yeah, and there's different
That's
types
like
of people that
it's
are
oh,
that are
it's a
in this space already that are collecting NFTs, right? You've got fans that I think are probably the smaller percentage right now that buy it because they love it and they want to hold on to it because they love the artist, they love the music.
yeah.
You got your short-term folks who maybe try to buy on the initial mint and just try to flip it very quickly for either a small or decent return. And then you've got long-term holders that are buying and holding for 6 to 12 months, but their goal and objective is clearly to flip it at some point for a profit or a margin.
Right.
And I think all of these people coming into the space together is what sort of I think it all sort of contributes to the liquidity of the space in a weird way. That being said, I like to buy and hold NFTs, and I like to hope that the overall we can encourage the sentiment to be, hey, like I want to buy this NFT from this artist because I want to support them. I want to provide for them in some way. I want to get connected to them in some way, not for a purely like financial
Making
reason,
money.
buy
Yeah.
and flip it.
I
And
think utilities will help with that.
yeah, I think so too. And the projects I've seen start to come out more and more, like the utility is getting more thought out. There's more to it, right? Instead of just getting an NFT of a song, which you can play on your digital wall or in your metaverse, which by itself I think is really cool. You're now seeing people who are providing sort of deeper access to them as an artist, both in the metaverse as well as in the real world, right? Like access
Exactly.
to exclusive meet and greets,
Yeah,
opportunities to
exactly.
work with artists in the
NFTs come
studio,
whatever it is. Yeah.
super special VIP experiences that you wouldn't get otherwise. I think that is really cool. And I think the types of experiences that are repeatable, meaning, hey, by owning this token, you get access to this regularly, meaning once a year, once every 6 months, once every 4 months.
Yeah.
That type of commitment, I think, from the artist will contribute to the value holding for tokens, which is exciting too. It's like, especially for an artist like you, like if you know your next song is the one that takes off and becomes your first massive hit, right? Man, your tokens are immediately going to go up in value because people want to have access to you.
Right.
That's what's exciting to me. We see some.
Yeah, it's dope. And it's cool because I've made like an NFT and I didn't completely sell out of it. I think I sold like 3 or 4 of 9, which is pretty good.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and it's just and like the rest of them are kind of just like there, and then I get a song and
Yeah,
I go crazy, and then post again about the
yeah.
NFT. Like you don't really lose anything,
No,
But
no.
with like merchandise, I don't know. It's a little bit different. I feel like with merchandise, you could kind of take a L.
Yeah, you could if you're paying for it up front. I
If you're
mean,
paying for it up front, you kind of take a little bit of an L. Um,
that's
you
why
know,
with the way we thought about it is, artists shouldn't have to pay for any minting fees up front to
right,
get into the space. So there isn't that inventory issue per se, right?
right. At least on the artist, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you can give them the opportunities to do new things. I try to encourage artists, think about every single release you have, potentially doing something for that in Web3. Like you could release just a one of one NFT of that song, of every song you release, just to have a collectible out there. Um, I think people go back and discover these, and you always find people talking about onboarding. More people are onboarding into Web3 every day, every week, and they are looking for their first few NFTs to buy. Right?
Yeah,
I remember the first time I discovered music NFTs a couple of years ago. I was like, oh man, like you end up just wanting to buy a bunch just to experience it, just to feel, okay, what is it like to own an NFT of a song? Is it similar to owning an NFT of or a vinyl record of a song, right? That
yeah,
same feeling you have where you own something that's scarce and that's rare and that's one of only a few out there.
right.
Uh, that's what excites me and it really intrigues me about NFTs for music. But at the same time, I think there's a huge application for artists for NFT collections that may not necessarily have music on chain on the NFT itself, but potentially owning the token gives you access to music in some other way or
Yeah,
access to exclusives from the artist in some way.
right. I think it's definitely like a really cool way to like specifically one on one with a fan or like whoever
Yeah,
buys it,
that's
either
true.
a fan or a hater, right? It's a really cool way to like get this like really unique relationship because it's like it's like I mean, I would even say that most of people who would buy NFTs from an artist, at least what I'd hope for, are like you're kind of like super fans.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
my
totally.
NFTs and like what I want to do with them in the future with like utilities, like I don't really. I mean, it could be someone who's like, oh, I know the utilities are going to be whatever, whatever. So like I'm going to buy this NFT and then be able to like sell it for more, and that's cool. But like, I hope
Mm.
that doesn't happen. I hope it's just like people buy it because they actually want to like experience the utilities and whatever that is. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm for it either way. I can't control it once it's on the market. Whatever someone does with it is what they do with it. But I think that it becomes less about like the monetary aspect of it and more about the experience when you do like, um when you like add an experience to it. It's like, all right, well, if I do get this, like there are things that come with it. So maybe I was just gonna get it for, being able to resell it, but it's like, okay, but if I hold on to it, I can actually like get the utilities and then maybe I can sell it or whatever it is. But it's like once they experience it, they're like, this is actually kind of fire. And then it's like, wait, no, I'm the only person who can do this. So this is kind of, so I think that like after a while it'll start to be like, wow, this is actually like pretty dope. And it won't just be
Yeah,
like a hype culture kind of thing where it's like,
yeah. I think
I resell, you
yeah.
know.
Someone said like, "Oh, NFTs went too far too quick," and
Kind of. They
they
kind of
need
did.
to
They
come
kind of
back
did.
down, and we need to consolidate more and build up because if you think of like, I mean, how many people who listen to Spotify? Tens and tens of millions of people,
Yeah.
hundreds of millions at this point, or over 100 million.
I think they have like a billion people.
Like, how many of those people have bought an NFT or even know what an NFT is yet? Like, it's still so early
So
that when you think about this world trying to onboard streamers into not YouTube streamers, but people who are streaming music into
mm,
Web3, like we still have quite an education process, I think, to go down.
yeah, 100%.
So you don't shy away from making content. I see you really active on Instagram, on TikTok, on all these platforms.
I've
And
been lately for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and what's interesting is like there's a kind of a conversation happening in the music industry about pressures put on music artists to be more than just a songwriter and a performing artist. It's almost
Mhm.
like they have to be um, a social media personality on
Right.
Instagram and on
Yeah.
TikTok. And as we both
Anonymity.
know, each channel has their own sort of vibe of who you are and create
Yeah.
content. And
Like
some artists get really frustrated and annoyed at it. You seem to embrace it and have a lot of fun with it. And I'm curious, like, what inspired that, and why do you just run with it like that? Yeah.
I mean, it's like anonymity kind of really isn't a thing anymore. And I wanted to like kind of have like the anonymity approach, like your Frank Oceans and even like Kanye, but he kind of got on social media, so it's not the question now. Or even like Kendrick Lamar, right? So I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But they grew up in a time where, and I hope this doesn't offend anyone, but this is kind of how it is,
Yeah.
where you get signed based off of your talent and not about what you look
A little
like.
bit.
And
Mhm.
if you also were like good looking, that was bonus for companies. You know what I'm saying? Then you also were a sex symbol, but it
Yeah.
was about talent. But nowadays it's about your social reach. If you have talent, that's the bonus. So it's kind of flipped a little bit. So now it's like if someone like, for instance, me or any of my friends, if we have talent and we're going to a label, it's like, yeah, you're talented, but like, how many people know you're talented? And it's like, it used to be, hey, label, that's your job to make sure people know I'm talented. But now it's like, you know, they they like, it's interesting because the labels have taken a step back from like the promotional aspect of things, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm independent is because essentially what I need from a label would be marketing dollars, and
Yeah.
so there's no point in signing everything when I only need that specific category. But even so, they want me to have the reins on that category. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, okay, so what
Do I get
exactly?
a marketing fee as well? Yeah.
Exactly. It's like they also want me to have run my own social media. They want me to have followers. Want me to do all this stuff.
All this
All
stuff.
right. So
Yeah.
like, what exactly can you do for me that
Mhm.
I couldn't do for myself once I get that following? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, there are things that labels can do because they can take
Yeah,
you
of
to
course.
like into the stratosphere with whatever it is. Um, um, but yeah, like I think, damn, I like kind of like lost. What was it? What was the initial question? I like
It's just like some artists are expressing frustrations with the need to be
right, right, right,
everything
right,
to
right.
everyone or to like buy into the TikTok algorithm in some way.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, perfect. Right. So
And some artists are frustrated with that and they want to kind of shut off, right? And just like not do anything. And here you
yeah,
are like
I
embracing
hundred
it and
percent.
having fun with it. Yeah.
And as an artist, I 100% get why people are like irritated with that because it's like I just want to create art. I don't want to have to like become someone I'm not because that's like it's like a paradox because like art is like who I am. Now in order to sell it, I have to be someone I'm not because that's more approachable on social media. You know what I'm saying? Or like I have to embody this like whole image on social media that's not me. And some people get away with it and they're lucky enough to be able to create this persona on social media which is them. But the majority of the time it's like someone had to do something that they they don't like, or they did something for a long time and it worked and now they don't want to do that but it worked for them, so they have to keep doing it, whatever it is. So with me it's like I didn't like social media for so long, that I kind of fell behind, and now that I'm like kind of getting back and I'm like, cool, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do it, I'm actually starting to enjoy it. So
Yeah.
it's
You
like,
be
oh dang, like
yourself. That's what.
I wish I did this like a while ago, but like it is what it is. I'm starting here,
Yeah.
but it's really just like it's all really attitude. It's all glass half full mentality, because
Totally.
you're always gonna have to do something you don't like. It's just like what do you want the
Yeah.
results to be? That's
Yeah.
like kind of what it comes down to. But like for artists who you know don't like social media, or like they don't know how to like how to work on social media and they're trying to get started, um the first thing I can really say is like try not to copy other people too much. And even myself, I even will find myself like recreating videos or whatever it is. But even if I do, I'll try to make something unique in each video to where it like it tailors to myself and my demographic, to where if people do stumble on it, they'll be like, oh, okay, well this is, I've seen videos like this before, but this one's kind of different. Or it's like I've never seen this before, whether it's a whole other idea or something. And it's like everybody says, oh, find something unique, but like here are some examples of how you can do that, right? So I have dreads. So I like made a video about me, like I had, it was braided up. So I made a video about how what it looks like when I when I untangle my dreads, and as I'm doing it I'm like singing a song, or like I'm playing my music in the background. Just like mundane shit like that. It's like it doesn't have to be anything super crazy. Like that's another thing about this new age we live in. It's like it's not really even about like talent to a certain extent anymore. It's not even about like the quality of content. It's really just like the amount, the quantity of
Yeah.
content. So
Yeah.
like me doing a video where I'm just like braiding or unbraiding my hair and singing a song or having my song playing in the background, that can go viral. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
It's
it's like
totally
the
good.
easiest. So it's like it's really just like try different things. It's like
Mhm.
and it's like if people don't understand where they can get ideas from, you then it could go like Google something, like Google, or not Google really, but like look at TikTok videos and see how like some of those people did it, and then find like a way to like change it. Maybe it's like a different camera angle or something, or maybe it's like it's like upside down, or I don't know, maybe you invert it, or maybe you add like cool colors on the wall in the background, or whatever it is. Maybe you do it outside. Like it's pretty easy now, because you know there's not like this. I would consider it even like copy culture, right? Like that's not even really a thing anymore. Like no one really gets on each other for like copying ideas, because everybody does it. It's like everybody damn near has a phone, especially in the United States. So if they have a TikTok account and they see another video, what's the first thing they try to do? Recreate that video to also blow up. So like this whole copy culture thing that like really was popping off in like the early like 2000 like 2010s, it's not even a thing anymore. So like for people to be afraid of like like using other people's ideas, or whatever, or like the fear of like being judged, it's like it's kind
Yeah.
of like, dude, just like try something new. But the
Yeah.
only reason I say don't copy, or like don't copy too much, is just because it disallows you to have that unique value and that unique factor in your video, to where people land on it and they're like, oh, this is new. It's not necessarily that you're going to get made fun of or it's bad to copy, because I personally think the best artists steal. You know what I mean?
A
So
little bit.
like
Yeah.
I think it's like it's cool to like use other people's ideas, but one, I really believe in this. Give credit. If you did completely just rip someone's idea, I'm all for that. Give people credit. Um, but also it's like it's cool to like pay homage or pay tribute to things, but make it your own. So it's like it's not like you're just like ripping things. You know what I mean? And I think that's where it gets kind of lost in the sauce. Is like when people get onto social media, everybody's doing the same thing, and it's like it's and like the copy culture is less about being made fun of, and more so it's just like, bro, like you're not even crediting me. It's
Yeah.
like it's like a new wave of copy culture of like, all right, well, mine went viral, so like I did it first, or mine's better. It's like, dude, shit is random, and like
Yeah. Exactly.
people like get this big head for doing things that are like mundane and random. Like, bro, I know girls who have like millions of followers on social media, and like they're and like all they do is like not to like throw shade, but like in my opinion, they're like not very good dancers.
Okay.
Like they like dance on TikTok and social media and like do like really cringy shit. But like they're like they think they're the shit because a bunch of people want to follow them for it. And I'm like, hey man, like more power to you. Like no shade, no hate. But at the same time, it's like you do have to realize that you don't actually do anything. So it's not like bring yourself down. It's just
Yeah.
like humble yourself. Like you can be a nice person. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be a dick. You know, you
Yeah.
don't have to be rude. You don't have to be mean. Like having people follow you because they think you're hot or they want to like have sex with you. It's cool, but like it's like it doesn't mean that much at the end of the day. Like you can still be a cool person.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I'm going with this, bro. I'm just so far off topic. I have
I love
ADD,
it. I
bitch,
love just hearing like people chat.
crazy. I have ADD like no other. It's a vibe. I love it. That's why I make a
You're
bunch of
good,
different
man.
genres of
You're
music.
good.
But
Okay.
I do remember the question at hand was like how I do social media and like if I like it and the artists find that it is like kind of toxic or even
Happy.
you
Yeah.
know it's like tiring sometimes and
Yeah.
it is. But it's like in the world we live in, you kind of need it, and that's kind of it is what it is. And the reason why you need it is because labels have taken this step back to like not really promote you on social media unless you already kind of have a following. So
Yeah.
now it's like the labels have taken this approach where it's like it's even easier for labels now, if anything, because everybody it's kind of like it's like the liberation of artists. It's like there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be free from labels and do everything
They
themselves.
the labels are watching the artist do it.
And labor's like, okay, cool. You want to be by yourself? All right, cool. When you get to this level, now this is where you get signed, as
Yeah.
opposed to just having dumb, crazy talent down here.
I
So
know.
now it's harder for like independent artists or like people who want to get signed. You know what I'm saying? It's not just being talented. It's like being talented, having a following, having like all these things that a label was supposed to like help you with back in the day.
Yeah.
But also, I do think it's breeding like crazy ass talented artists because like
Yeah.
people who are still able to get to that step or like pass these obstacles or do these things themselves, they're monsters now.
Yeah.
So to a certain extent, the artists that the labels do want to sign are walking in like shut the fuck up, like I could do, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they're breeding a new type of artist, bro, and I would even consider myself one of them. It's like
Yeah.
I never thought that I would be doing so many things like film, TV, like fashion, like music, like mixing, like promotion, marketing, like graphic design. I never thought I would be doing a lot of these things, but I have to do them now to even get to this step. But not only that, I'm like good at each. I'm good at all of them. So now I'm like, oh, I'm crazy. So I'm a powerhouse, bro. Like when it comes to me getting a label deal, it's like I know I'm gonna take the smallest amount, but I have that marketing budget. It's like it's creating artists to think in just a very different way
Yeah.
as opposed to like I have the talent, sign me. That was like the artists back in the day, and like labels were like, all right, man, we got them. Like we can do A, B, C, D, E. But now artists are like, all right, cool, sign me. But you can't do A, B, C, D, E. You can only do Z. And if you do Z, then I get 1, 2, and 3. And it's like on labels are like, what the who taught you this shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's a really like fun time I think we live in, and like just seeing like how marketing, social media is really like it's creating these I'd say demons, bro. Like people who are just like crazy with it. It's like, dude, you can do all those things.
Yeah.
What the heck? So I don't think that that was a thing before. And like Kanye, he's almost 50. I don't know actually how old he is. I think he's like what 48, something like that. He's
Young
older,
40.
right? And
He's
he's
young
doing
40.
all these things. But if Kanye grew up in like the age that like if he was like my age right now and he was like figuring out how to do all this shit, bro, he'd be a billionaire by the time he's 25, 30.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Like he's my example of like an artist who was like me, who was like they're put in a time where they have to do they're like they have to do everything. But he was like at the he was in that time before social media where he had the talent to get signed. And then as time kind of progressed, he kind of broke out and started doing all these things. And then it was like labels can't tell me what to do. But if he started with that labels can't tell me what to do mentality,
Yeah.
Crazy. So like I look at people like Kanye, I look at people like Jay-Z, Frank Ocean, Pharrell Williams, Tyler the Creator. They're like in my mind like innovators, and they're
Oh
like,
yeah, 100%.
and the craziest part is like, what did they really innovate?
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing really. They were just themselves. They were
Yeah,
just
yeah,
they stuck to who they were,
yeah,
and they took from other artists who they appreciated, who they valued in some of their influences, inspirations, but they still made it their own. They still added that Kanye esque, that Frank Ocean esque, and it's to the point where you don't even know who some of their influences are.
yeah. It's true.
It's like I can hear this in that song. I can hear this. I can hear this. It's like yeah, you can fucking hear everything because it's that artist. You know what I mean? Like when you hear
True.
a Kanye song, you're like, oh, this is a Kanye song. Like
Yeah.
I'll be hearing beats come on, and I'm like, huh, I wonder if Kanye produced this. And I'll look it up. He produced it. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like he has sounds. He has like a sound to it. Pharrell has the 4 count. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Lil Wayne has like the little like the lighter sound before a song comes on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Well,
like
Chase,
that's
man, it's
huh?
been awesome to speak with you. Where
Oh, dude,
can
I'm
people
chatting
find?
forever.
Yeah, where can people find you online?
I'm on Instagram, Chase_Paves, Twitter, Chase_Paves, TikTok. I think it's also Chase_Paves. Spotify, Chase Paves, Apple Music, Chase Paves. I'm everywhere, baby. I'm
Sick.
everywhere and nowhere.
Chase, so good to speak with you. Mr. Woke out everywhere on DSPs, and his Genesis
Sure.
NFT collection, Hidden 9, is available on HitPiece. Hope everyone's well. Thanks, Chase, for joining us, man.
Oh, of course, man.
All right, dude. See ya.